when you're recording in progress. Beautiful arms. Oh, they didn't have it down. Well, it's been that's one hour. Actually, yesterday was, hey, 2 days on still. And she goes, I know, but I can't wait to see you. I get pelican ice. Something else.
Oh. Oh boy, oh boy. See if anyone else comes in. No, leaving them in the dust. Yes, we're gonna run Facebook ad, maybe Instagram, in command. So let me go ahead and get this going. So go ahead and log into command, and then we're gonna go to campaigns, which is the little megaphone one. Melissa, we're gonna build a Facebook ad today. Do you want to run one too? I asked Heather if, because I know that you had already talked to her about running for the Philly one. Yeah, so I had asked Heather before I even knew that. I was like, hey, I'm teaching today, you have listings, you mind if we borrow them and like promote them? And she's like, sure. Because if you're trying to run the lead generating ads in command, I mean, honestly, anywhere, just in general, like if you're trying to run an online ad, the ones with the properties do the best. Especially if you're trying to do it to generate leads, like names, phone numbers, emails, because then you send them, so like you can put, yes, there's content that you could put other types of ads out, like the what's my home worth one, or the, I've put out ones like targeting an area on the website, say like, see what's for sale in Newtown, PA, and like ask for a lead capture on that. But the ones that I get the best cost per lead are the property ones, because it's plain and simple, people like houses, they just like to look at houses. And like, whether they're looking to move this second or not, if I'm interested enough, like, you know, I'm comfortably in my own home, right? But if I see a pretty property come across my newsfeed, I'm like, I wonder what that's going for.
Right.
I'm willing to sell my information, like, you know, my name, my phone number, just to see, so that I can be lazy about it. So people will do that. And that's where a lot of those the leads that you get on Facebook ads, a lot of them won't even really remember. Hey, Daniel, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. So like if a lot of them, when you follow up with them, they won't even really remember what exactly they clicked on. They don't really remember, because like probably not the first property that they clicked on if they're in the market, or even if they're far out in the market, it's not the first one that they clicked on, so they don't know the address. The second part is, when we made the ad, if you're trying to do a lead generating ad, we usually withhold the address from the ad, because we don't want them to go off on Zillow. Because if we give them the address, they can go wherever they want to find out the information. If we don't tell them the address, they have to click on my ad for them to find out where it is. So they don't, when you say, hey, you clicked on 123 Main Street, they have no freaking idea. They open it up, they looked at some like pretty photos. If they were interested enough, maybe they filled out a lead capture form. Maybe they read it and went, oh, I need, you know, this one has 2 bedrooms, I need 3, and close it out. You know what I mean? You really don't know the story of it. And so these ads are great because you can, hi, John. You can build, like you can run an ad for like $20 and you can get leads at a low cost per lead and it gives you people to follow up with. But the thing that, like the barrier that a lot of people have with with these online ads, and especially these Facebook and Instagram ones, is that they're like, I called them, they had no idea what I was talking about. And it's like, you yourself have probably clicked on things that you don't even remember doing things. So it comes with the way that you follow up with them, the fortunes in the follow-up. So that's where you're creating your system that once you get those leads in command, because they drop right into command once you run the ad, once we get them in there, we want to set up a way that we're following up with them so that we turn them into fortunes. Right, and just delete those ones, you know what I mean? But the basically the point is that, yes, I can go, there's lots of places you can go and pay for leads. But when you run social media ads and like Facebook ads like this, you can get them for 50 cents a lead, $1 a lead, $2 a lead on the high end. So, especially when you're doing like the property ones, you can get them for fairly cheap per lead, and then they give you something to follow up with. It gives you people to start following up with and people to start working with. So we'll talk about follow up once we run the ad. All right, hello all my Zoom people. Can everyone hear me on Zoom? A nod, yeah, all right. So we're in command. So we're in agent.kw.com and I'm logged in. We're going to create an ad today. So I was just talking with, I have Lori and Melissa in the training room with me. We were just talking about how if you're going to build an ad with me today, I have a couple properties that you can use. I asked Heather because she has a couple on the market. She has one in Philly and one in Newtown. So I asked her if we could borrow hers to run ads for if you do not have your own listings. If you have your own listing, let's run one for your own listing. But if not, and you wanted to run one for a listing, we will use hers as an example or as one that you can use to run an ad for. All right. So like I said, we're in command. We're already in campaigns, which is this little megaphone one. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit this create campaign button. It's blue. And it's going to give us this pop-up and we're going to choose social ad paid. We're going to give it a name, and with the name, if it's your listing, make it the address, make it something so that you know what you were trying to do at the time with that ad. If it's the address for the property and it was for specifically an open house, maybe put, 123 Main Street open house, so that you know the difference between the one where you were just trying to get more people to see it and the one you were trying to promote an open house. If it's the only ad that you're running for this property, it's fine to make it just the property. You can even call it, 123 Main Street lead gen, so that you know that you were trying to generate leads off of it. Like I said, anything that reminds you what you were trying to do with this campaign when you were running it. So we're going to use, Heather has 2 listings right now. So there's 620 Pukesing in Philly. Let me find the, or there's 84 Rittenhouse in Newtown. I'm going to go ahead and put those in the chat, because if you are going to be running an ad for one of these, you're going to need to know how to spell it. Or if you have your own listing, then you're going to make it the address for your own listing. I'm going to do Rittenhouse. Okay. Now your goal for the Facebook ads, for these Facebook and Instagram ads, the goals do matter. They do affect how the ad is being run, because it's trying to optimize the way that the ads run and sent out so that you achieve your goal. So you're telling them what you want so they can give you what you want. If you're trying to generate leads, you're trying to get names, phone numbers, and emails off of these ads. Attract buyers works the best for me, but attract buyers and advertised listings will have similar results. It's not that one won't give you leads. I usually use attract buyers, and that one usually works for me. I don't know if it's lucky. If you have a couple different types of Facebook ads, but the 2 that we'll focus on when we're running them through command. is you have what's called a brand awareness ad, and then you have a lead generating ad. Okay. So your brand awareness ad would be, I have a property to promote. We'll say it's 84 Rittenhouse, the one in Newtown, right? I have a property to promote. I want to get it out to as many people as possible, and I just want more eyeballs on my name and on that property so that I can sell it, right? A brand awareness ad would mean that you created the ad so that when it shows up on somebody's news feed, so when you're scrolling through Facebook and it shows up on their news feed, it'll show the picture of the property. A brand awareness ad means that when they click on the picture of the property, they go directly to the link that you were sending them to. So the link with the information for the property. So brand awareness would be that ad comes up, it's got the picture of the property, they click on the picture, it goes right to the link that with the information that you promised that they would get. There's nothing standing in between. It's just when they see it, they're able to click on it and they can go to it. Those ones are good if you want to throw a little bit of money and just promote yourself, promote your listings, and just have more people see it. When you run a brand awareness ad, you're going to see way more impressions. So impressions are the number of news feeds that it makes it onto. You'll see way more impressions, but you will get 0 leads because it will not capture their information, not at all. So when you do a brand awareness ad, it will not collect their information. There's no barrier between them clicking on the ad and them getting to the information that they want. It won't collect anything in between. Now, if you send them to your website, your contact form is on your website. So if somebody really, really, really wanted to get in touch with you, they could, but the chances are very low because it's not forcing them to do it.
What if you had some to attract from those grant programs? Would that be still attract buyers?
Yeah, I would. If you were trying to do it as like a lead generating thing, then yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I would create like a little graphic for it and then think about where you're going to send them when they're done. Because you have to send them to some sort of link at the end of it. So is that going to be a page on your website that we put a flyer on so that they have something to read? You know, you want to think about like people don't like talking to people, you know, so you want to give them as much as they can online because that's where they're looking at it. That's the space they're already in. So like you want to give them as much information as they can. Once they've given up their contact info, give them what they want. Don't be like, all right, thanks. Because they won't be happy. So yes, I would do attract buyers, something like that. Okay, so we talked about our brand awareness ad, which is it'll reach more people, it'll show up on more news feeds, but it won't collect anything. Then you have your lead generating ad, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So your lead generating ad is going to be for 84 Rittenhouse Circle. I'm running an ad. It shows up on somebody's news feed. They see the picture of the front of the house. They click on it. It asks for their name, their phone number, their email before they get to the page that gives them more information. They have to put that in order to get to the next page. So that's when we're talking about lead generating Facebook ads, that's what we're talking about. When they click on it, they have to put something in order to get to the next page. And so that's where, when we're talking about like cost per lead, that's the type of ads that we're running.
So they have to enter their contact info.
Their name, their phone number, the email. It will autofill based off of what they created their Facebook account with. Now, if they haven't updated that since 2009, it might still have an AOL email. It happens. They can overwrite it. So they can overwrite it and put updated information because they're interested, or they can overwrite it and put bogus information if they really want to. You didn't really want that person anyway. So don't overthink it. Don't worry about it. Then it takes them to the website that we promised them. And this will make more sense as we start to build it, but I like to set that groundwork from the beginning because it becomes a lot of terminology. All right, so what we're going to do for this one, since we're going to do a lead generating one, we're going to choose attract buyers. And for this example, I'm going to run it on Facebook and Instagram. I'll be honest, Twitter ads don't really give me all that much luck. I have the best results with Facebook because it's just what people expect on Facebook. Instagram doesn't hurt. You generally, when you look at the leads later, most of them do come from Facebook, but it doesn't hurt to put something on Instagram, especially if it's like a pretty property or something that will read well on Instagram. It doesn't hurt to run it there too, but it's really up to you. We're going to create campaign. So I chose Facebook and Instagram, and I'm going to show you one little extra tip for running it on Facebook and Instagram at the same time, but that'll come later.
Can I ask you something? Saying,
That's not connected.
yeah, in my Facebook, I do Facebook ads all the time.
So when you have Facebook and Instagram, Because it might have disconnected. Hit connect account, because you might have done it just for scheduling, not for the ads.
Oh, okay.
So try and get it in right now.
Like,
No,
I
we're
know I do
business.
Facebook posting.
Yeah, so there is a difference between when you're in the settings and giving the, what's the word that I'm looking for?
When you're.
Permissions. There's a different one for scheduling and for ads. It's silly. I don't know why they don't put it together, but they don't. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and hit skip. Here's where, this is our builder. We're gonna go through it literally step by step. If you have a listing that you're promoting, and in this scenario we do, you can add it in. It's gonna make it easier for you for the photos because it'll connect it with the listing from the MLS. It'll pull the photos in and some of the description. It's gonna make your life easier. If you are running an ad that is not for a listing, skip that step entirely. You do not have to have a listing in order to run an ad. So I just like to give that disclaimer, but for now we are running one for a listing. So I'm gonna hit add listing, and you're gonna make sure that it says show only my listings. We're gonna click that and say show all, because for us, we're running an ad that's not, or running it for a property that isn't ours. And even if it is your own listing, sometimes they don't show up, but if you change it to all, it will. Okay. Sometimes when you're searching, less is more. Sometimes they're abbreviated in weird ways, but this one is fine. So we have 84 in-house right here. I'm going to hit select. And it's going to attach that listing onto here for me. And Lori, if you're doing Picassin, you would just type in for Picassin. You already did that. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna make this smaller. Rittenhouse, hit enter. And see if it'll go. No? Okay. Sometimes it's a little finicky. Okay. So what I'm going to do, it's more helpful to me. It does pull in the first sentence and like a half of the description. But for Heather's, that doesn't really tell us much. So I'm gonna pull up the listing. Yeah, that way you can pull from it, you know, bedrooms, bathrooms type of thing for any additional information you may need. Because we want to give them some information. We want to give them enough information that they know it's a property they might be interested in.
Can you copy from this and please?
From Bright?
Right.
Yeah, you can copy it, but there will be a character limit
Okay.
on the campaign. So you are limited to 250 characters. It really does not give you a lot of space.
Okay.
Truthfully, you don't want to go over much of that anyway. Because we all have very short attention spans. So we want to get to the important points quickly so that they don't have to read too much.
Yeah, I need you in my pocket, though, when I'm doing these little things, because you have such good verbiage. I'm like, come see me.
Come see me. I'm great. I really do love writing these Facebook ads, so anytime. Like, anytime
Okay,
anyone
I'm
else,
gonna take that one, because I'm really bad at
just
it.
stop by. I have good days and bad days. So like some days,
Your bad day
really
would
good
be
at it.
my really, really great day.
All right, so now we have more of the information because I don't have it at the top of my head, but I wanted to make sure that I have, you know, bedrooms, bathrooms, if it's points that I want to draw on, or, you know, maybe a price point, if it's, you know, low for the area, but right now that's not necessarily true for anywhere. Because it doesn't even matter. Okay, so our main copy in our ad. Our main copy is going to be what goes above the photo. So you are limited to 250 characters. After a certain point, it's gonna cut off and give you, if you've ever seen on Facebook where it says read more. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to read after that, but you wanna get the appealing stuff towards the front. So if this was something like we were promoting an open house, then we would say at the very front, open house this Sunday, right? So that they know what it is that we're telling them to do. For this one, I like pictures do not do this home justice. Because what we might do is just do like 1 or 2 pictures on this. You have to come see it to appreciate all the upgrades this home offers. Nothing in this home is from builder grade. We don't need that. And because this hardwood floor sentence doesn't make sense without more things behind it, I'm gonna take that out too. Okay. Pictures do not do this home justice. You have to come see it to appreciate all the upgrades this home offers. You know what? This one really doesn't make that much sense either. They're not necessarily. We'll figure it out. Okay. Let's just do this one justice. We'll say something like, when did this go on the market? Yeah, all right. So we won't say that it was just listed. That would be lying. All right, so let's see. It's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. It's in, what school district is it in?
It's a 55 plus.
Oh, it's 35 plus, okay. Yeah. So we could say something like draw on the community and the amenities in the community. Clubhouse, indoor heated pool, outdoor pool with lounging area, bocce, library, card room, community room with kitchen and gym. Okay. Let's say.
Would you say it's a 55 plus? Would you not even specify that, because then you cut down people?
I wouldn't,
Okay.
because again, with the goal of these ads, it's just like, yeah, to just
Somebody
capture
click
people,
on it.
because they're gonna click on and go, ah, that's not for me, and close
Right.
out. But you would still have their information, and so when we're following up with them, we're not necessarily saying, hey, I saw that you absolutely loved 84 in-house.
Right.
You're saying, hey, I saw that I put some like homes on Facebook, I saw that you clicked on one of them, I wanted to see how I could help you on your home buying journey, right? So that's like, it doesn't really matter, and we don't want to be too pigeonholed. So we just do not do this one justice. Let's say, enjoy. Enjoy the clubhouse amenities. Community. Two pools, it's 2 pools, an indoor and an outdoor?
Yeah.
All right, so we say 2 pools.
I'll be looking at it. An outdoor pool and an indoor heated pool.
This is slow. Hold on, we'll catch up. So we'll just say the 2 pools. Hello, come back. This part's the hardest part, is trying to write it. Everything else is easy. Everything else is not difficult. There we go. We'll catch up eventually. Offer with 2 pools. We'll say, enjoy the amenities this community has to offer with 2 pools. Desirable, DESIRABLE.
I like an underline.
Maybe I have it wrong.
Indesirable? No, I had a space, a double space.
Oh.
I was like, what?
Enjoy the amenities. There's only 2 pools and no community room. Okay. So 2 pools, a gym, and more. Okay, so we're going back. I know I flip flop around. Okay, we just don't do this home justice, this 4-bedroom, 2.5. Upgrades. Windows, Alright, so we'll say with updates or upgrades without, let's say updates without. And the kitchen's really pretty, so we'll say something like, you have to see this kitchen. We're just gonna do this home justice, this 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Has upgrades throughout. People like kitchens. Yeah, something like that. I'll put something like, you have to see this kitchen. Okay, we're just gonna do this home justice. It's 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath home, has upgrades throughout. You have to see this kitchen. Oops. Enjoy the amenities. This community has home with 2 pools, a gym, and more. Okay, so we're gonna take out. I have too many exclamation points. So what I do when I have too much punctuation, and what I do also just to draw attention, is to add in emojis.
Okay.
So emojis are a good way to kind of like end a sentence without a period, which sounds too dry, and an exclamation point, which
Okay.
sounds like you're trying to sell it too much. So you have this little smiley face down in the bottom right. And if you click that and hit search, you are able to use search terms to find things. Sometimes they're named funnier things than what you think. Sometimes, yeah, so sometimes it's named, it's something just weird. So we'll say after this, this community has software with 2 pools, a gym, and more. I think there's a more one. No. We can do the hard eyes emoji. We can do a thumbs up. We could do the sunglasses one. I'll do the sunglasses one. Why not? We're just gonna do this home justice. It's 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom. It's updates throughout. You have to see this kitchen. Yeah. Enjoy the. Sometimes they will. They will end up working themselves out. Like on the, sometimes on the right-hand side, especially like the preview, some of the emojis won't translate well. But they will run fine on the ad.
Okay,
So-
so it's not gonna be.
No, unless it looks like, is it like in a box, the question mark?
It's like a diamond.
Yeah, then that's just like it not reading it right, the computer, so yes, it will show up fine. If it showed like, let me show the other question mark, because I'll show you which one would be the one where it's gonna show up like a question mark. Would be like, there's a question mark emoji. It literally looks just like like this. Like that. If it looked like that,
Where, okay.
then it would literally be a question mark. Sometimes the emoji, sometimes it can't read it right. It depends on the computer sometimes. And then it comes through weird. All right, so Fisher's gonna do this one. Justice, updates throughout. You have to see this kitchen. Okay, I like that. Now we want to tell them what to do at the end. So I need to make sure that they have enough space.
Oh, well. My space. Okay.
Because you can use it for the, you can put it in the headline too. I usually like to kind of repeat myself.
What did you just have to say something else, like, click below?
Yeah, something like that. So what do you have?
I'll get a.
Check out the people who are inside the social. At the end of the private demonstration, you'll all mark your please level one. I like that.
I don't have any money. So I should probably probably say maybe like double line.
You know what, leave it and put it as a headline. So put where we're gonna say like, click here, like click the link below.
Oh, I could use that. in the
Yeah,
headline.
put it in the headline. That'll be fine. Okay. Headline. Headline's gonna be the bolded one right underneath the photo, so it's where we're gonna tell them what they're gonna get or what they're gonna do, or sometimes we use the headline as, like if it was an open house Sunday 1 to 3. If it's in, Council Rock School District, and for 55 and older, they won't necessarily care, but if it was in a school district that is desirable, I would put, in Council Rock Schools. If it's a really great price point for the neighborhood, you're like, you won't believe this price. Or, I'm trying to think of another example, it'll come to me, but for now, what we're gonna do is for our headline, we're gonna say, see more photos. And the keyboard's being really slow bringing what I'm typing onto the screen, so sorry.
I'm slow.
So we're gonna say for the headline, see more photos and details. And that takes up literally all of our space. All right. All right, for our description, I like to repeat myself because the description only shows up on some placements. So Facebook will auto place these ads. So sometimes they'll throw them in stories. In that placement, the description won't show up. It will show up in a newsfeed placement that looks like this one, like our preview. I like to put it in again. So we'll say something pretty much the same, see more photos and details, click this link, or click learn more, or I'm spelling something wrong, but I don't know what.
Soon.
Yeah. I just felt it go
So
wrong. I
exciting.
didn't know what it was. Do it again. So we're going to tell them again, see more photos and details, click learn more. Or you can say click learn more for more photos and details. Move it around if you want to. Oh my gosh, I didn't even spell anything wrong. Yeah. And then what we're gonna do, because it works, is for the emojis, I like to put a right arrow that points to the button. Some people will go real crazy and put right arrows all the way to the button. I like to do like 3. We'll go ahead and bring in that. Yeah. Okay, so key points to take away when we're writing these ads. If it's a lead generating ad, don't tell them the address. If it's a brand awareness ad where you're not necessarily trying to get leads, I don't know if I'd tell them the address anyway, because the goal would be to send them to your website. If you're trying to do a brand awareness ad, even if you're promoting your listing, the goal is to get them to your website. So especially when you're doing lead generating one, don't give them the address, because otherwise they can just go look it up somewhere else and you'll lose them. Give them enough information that they'll know that they're interested in the property. So if we're not giving them the address, let's tell them how many bedrooms and bathrooms it is. If it's a really appealing price point, then sometimes they'll even put the price on. If it's an appealing price point, this one's high, so it's not like when it's in like the 300s. Sometimes I'll throw that on there. Depending on the area, use your better judgment. Like I said, we're giving them something. So, we use the amenities of what the community had to kind of give them a clue in that it would be in a community. If it's a home that has a deck or a pool, put that in. Lori put in like that the one in Philly had hardwood floors. So yeah, right. This one has a really nice kitchen, so we put that in there. Now, what we're probably going to do is not give them the photo of the kitchen, so that they have to click on it to see it. That's what we're trying to do. We don't want to be too sneaky. We want to give them something. We don't want to make them angry. No, it's fine, it's the same one. Yeah, it's just like the computers, some of the
Okay.
computers, the newer ones will show them
Yeah.
closer
Okay.
to what they actually are.
So we're saving this?
Yep, so we're gonna hit save on our text. And then we're gonna move on to the next. So your next thing's gonna be media. Now, you can add in multiple photos and do a carousel. My recommendation, maximum 3 photos. I would not give them any more than 3 because they then don't have any incentive to click it. If we're telling them they're gonna get more photos and details, if they see the whole story and they're like, oh, that's an ugly color on the inside, they're never gonna come. Now, I'm gonna look and see if there's any other photos of the outside, because I did not look through it. Yeah, add more. I just wanna see what other photos there are. See, this one specifically, the outside's so pretty. I don't know if we necessarily need it, but I may pick a different one. Like I kind of like this side angle one. So I just think it's different. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that one in.
Of the outside,
Yeah. So I don't know what the Philly ones look like.
then do one of the outside.
Yeah, definitely do. I always do the first one of the outside, unless the outside is terrible.
Now, are they
Then I do
getting
this.
this before they put their name, you're saying?
Yes, they're seeing the photos first. I'm gonna change the front photo.
I like this,
Here, let me see. Hold on.
Town has a great porch.
The Philly one.
Yeah, it does look like porch.
It is. I like that. crop, so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna delete the first one because. What's it doing? So to delete a photo, so there was a different, it puts in the first photo from the MLS. I decided on a different one, so I'm gonna hit the 3 dots on the one I no longer want and hit delete image.
So, but is that's addition to what, it still needs what you have on your
Yes,
thing?
yeah, so basically you can add in as many photos as you want and then read them out. Or you can like sparingly add a new one. So I picked a different front one, so I'm
Yeah, that's
swapping
why
it
I
out.
said that.
Yeah. We're gonna hit add more. I'm just gonna look one more time and see if there's any others that I may want to use. So I will say bedrooms are never that exciting unless it is like a luxury bedroom. People know that there's gonna be a place to sleep. Like, they're not all that interested. Same thing goes for bathrooms. People are not that interested in the bathroom unless it's like a beautiful luxury walk-in shower, clawfoot tub
Right.
bathroom. If it's like, it's a nice enough bathroom, people are like I said, aren't all that interested. I don't necessarily want to do anything of the clubhouse because that might get a little confusing, though it is a really pretty clubhouse. I guess that's the point of the clubhouse. Yeah, let me come look at the photos. Hold on. I guess this is the back.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see do that. All right, so I'm gonna pick one of the back. And especially since in our text, we told them that, like, you have to see this kitchen. I'm gonna purposefully leave that out. But that way they have to click on it to see, and then I'm gonna come look at it, Lori, hold on. I left the crop as a square because I did mine as an Instagram too. If you're not doing Instagram, then you could make it a wide crop if you wanted. So if you put right in the, yeah, there you go. I like that side, you want that pretty. What are the pictures of like the inside like? Is it very really nice and living room? So I do. Yeah, go up to the one. So I would do that, this one, instead of the one right here. Yeah. Did you run it for Instagram too? Or just Instagram? So you can go ahead and hit this drop down and what's the square, pink the Y. There you go. And then you can move it up and down if you want. Okay. So I just filled it out like that. So I added one from the family room. Yeah, keep going. And then once you have your photos in too, you can do the drop down again, where it says square and choose wide. If you're doing Facebook, you can do them all wide. And I put it down. There, choose from the drop down again. Type something wide again. Or type something different. Just square and then wide. There, back. There we go. So click right in the center of that, and then move it. There you go. And you can, once you have all your photos in, you can reorder them. So if you click in the center of the photo and drag it, then I think that will be fine. Okay, perfect. We've got our photos. All right. It will automatically bring in the logo from your marketing profile here and just drop it on the photo. You can choose whether it goes on the left or the right. Choose just depending on what's on the photo. If it's blocking something that you really wanted to show off, then move it. But if you, in this scenario, these ones we don't have to. All right, we've got our media. We're gonna go ahead and hit save.
You're only gonna put the two.
Photos, yeah, I'm not gonna do any other.
Okay.
All right. Facebook and Instagram settings. We're gonna go ahead and hit configure. Okay. Where it says account and page, you're gonna see your name under account. That's gonna be like your personal Facebook. So it should be whatever names on your personal Facebook, right? Next, it's gonna be your page. You're gonna choose, if you had multiple pages, you would choose what page it was coming from. If you only have one page, you're only gonna see one option. But you do have to select that first. Otherwise, when you go back and select it later, it's gonna give you an error and then like wipe off things that you already changed.
I'm sorry, you collect, you just clicked on my Facebook. and-
Where it says page.
Okay.
Yeah, so where's the Facebook and Instagram settings, and then it says account and then page. So from the page drop down, you're just gonna select your business page. And if you manage multiple pages, like I manage a bunch of pages, so I have a bunch of options, but if you only have one, then they'll only show.
Okay.
Okay, Instagram position, you can choose whether it's a feed or a story. This one I'm gonna do a feed because I already have it sized square, and as a story, it's not gonna look right, so I'm just gonna leave it as feed. Okay, destination, this one's super duper important, so write this down as a note if you're ever trying to do these on your own. This is where when we were talking about it before, brand awareness versus lead generation ads. Okay. If you want to get leads, choose Facebook lead generation form. Double check, triple check that you check that off. Because if you do not check that box off, you will not get leads. And you will look at it a couple days later and go, what the heck did I do wrong? Why did I get no leads? Because if you're getting 0 leads, you probably set it up wrong.
That automatically pretty much really.
It usually always clicks that first, but double check it, because if you're spending your money, I want to make sure you're spending your money the way you want to. Now, on the flip side, so that's if you want to get leads off of it, if you want names, phone numbers, and emails, you have to have that checked off.
Okay.
If you want to put out a Facebook ad that you're not trying to get leads off of, that you just want more people to see, you're promoting your business, you're spending $20 to make sure that more people go to your website or download your app or just plain see your name, right? That's where you would choose site or landing page. People get confused on this because it is worded a little bit confusing if you don't know what you're looking for. So destination, basically it's saying, when we see destination here, we see 2 options. Destination saying, when they click on it, where are they going? You're choosing whether they're going to the form first or they're going right to the website. So right to the website where it says site or landing page would be, no, you would not get leads off of it. Just when they click on it, they go right to the website. If you want to get leads, you would choose lead generation form. When they click on it, it'll ask for their information before they go anywhere else. All right, so we're going to do that today. You can change what the button says if you want, depending on what you're trying to do. For this scenario, learn more is the one that makes the most sense because it's the least abrasive. If you were trying to do something like promoting your app or trying to get people to join your newsletter, or you may be promoting the neighborhood nurture email updates that you have, maybe you would do something like sign up so that they knew they were signing up for an email list, right? If that's what you were telling them they were clicking on the ad for. In this scenario, we're telling them all they're doing when they click on the ad is looking up this property. So that's true. They're just learning more. They're not necessarily signing up for anything. We're not making it seem like that's what they're doing. Okay. Next one, says website URL. So this is where when they get through, so when either they click on the ad and they go to the website, or they click on the ad and ask for their information and then they go someplace else, where are we sending them, right? So that's what we're determining here, where it says website URL. Now, our whole ad was built on the concept that we were gonna let them see information on the property. So we better do that, or they're gonna be not happy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to your website in a new tab. It's usually your full name.kw.com. Yeah, so it's probably loritoy.kw.com. All right, and your homepage looks something like this. Make sure that it says your name up here.
Why does mine just say my agent? Doesn't say it.
So that would be on the settings for your website, but when you click on it,
It gives me pages.
okay, but it says about me or and it's actually you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes if it like disconnects from your website, it'll say guide and it's like on the KW website, not yours.
So it's on my settings on here.
Yeah, I can help you with it after.
Okay.
Yeah. On in command. It would be
In
in
command,
command, yeah.
I need a couple helps.
A couple helps. So we have our big search bar right in the middle of the page. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pull up the information for the property that we're promoting. So if that's 620 Pekessing, you're typing in 620 Pekessing in that box. If it's 84 Rittenhouse, that's what we're typing in there. If it's your individual listing for people that are on Zoom, then that's what you're typing in as the listing that you're promoting. Okay. This guy. We're gonna find our listing, so it's this one right here, and we're gonna click on the listing. It's gonna open it up in a new tab, and it's gonna be a page specifically just for that listing. That's what we want. We want the page that just shows the listing. Okay, so this is kind of what we're looking for, but with the appropriate property, whichever one you're promoting. It'll have the address, it'll have the photos right from the MLS, it'll have the information that's the same as what's on the MLS, but it'll be on your website. So what that means is that if they interact with it in any way, once they land here, if they decide, oh, I like that property, I want to save it, let's see what this button does. You know, I've never been here, let me see what this button does. It'll ask them to create an account, and that'll generate a lead for you in Command too. They can share it with others, they can ask you a question, they can hit this schedule video tour button. It doesn't actually schedule anything, it's a lead generation tool. So if they do click on this button, it'll ask them to create an account first, which is obvious because if they're gonna schedule a tour, they have to give their information, right? Then it would ask them basically what time works for them. And then you get that lead in Command, and it'll tell them so-and-so signed up for a tour. They said that Wednesday at 1 p.m. works for them, and you are at that point have to follow up with them. It's not going to do anything on its own. They've got mortgage calculators at the bottom, and then your contact forms all the way at the bottom with your information. So everything's branded to you, and it has everything that they could need. What we're going to do is we're going to copy this URL at the top. We're going to bring it back to where we are in campaigns. When you click on this website URL box, once it's copied, make sure you take off that HTTPS, because otherwise it'll duplicate it. And then we're going to paste our link in. Now, once it's in, just make sure that HTTPS isn't in there twice, because it'll break the link. They won't be able to click on it if it's in there twice. So just make sure that, look at it one more time, make sure that it has that HTTPS just one time. There's no additional dashes or anything or slashes, and that your URL looks good. Should give you a little green check mark to say that it's a verified web address. All right, do we all have our link? All right, cool. So we're gonna move to our next spot. Now, usually this autofills. I don't know why it didn't. Usually it autofills the location based off of the listing. For whatever reason, this time it didn't. Usually it does. What you're gonna choose is it should auto choose target a custom audience. That's what we want, because the ad that we're trying to run right now, we're trying to find new people, not people we already know. So we're gonna hit where it says, did yours fill in?
It says your ordinance is set automatically, you can also customize the difference, the ordinance is set your own value, location 20 miles, Philadelphia.
Oh, yours looks different.
Yeah.
Check that little, where it says use custom settings.
How did I know?
No, my defaulted to it, so for yours, for whatever reason it didn't, there you go. That's what we want, okay. So if anyone else saw that, you have to toggle this little switch, where it says, oops, go back, use custom settings. For whatever reason, yours was closed. Usually it defaults to keeping it open, but I don't know, it might be doing something weird, so.
You're me and Facebook.
So yeah, you wanna make sure that that little switch is toggled to green so that we can customize it. This property is in Newtown, right? Greenhouse. Look at that, it did know it, it just got confused. All right, so we want Newtown, Bucks County for this particular property. Yours is in Philly, you would do Philly.
Would I do all of them? Or would I do?
So because of equal housing, you can't make your radius smaller than 15 miles. So
I just
For
thought, like,
you-
because it's in Somerton, should I like do the surrounding area or?
I don't know if it'll recognize Somerton, like if we tried to, yeah,
Somerton,
Philly's
yeah.
funny. Philly is a hard one.
Yeah.
Because it drops that pin somewhere right in the center.
Okay.
And then it branches out. So you have to think about where Somerton is in relation to the center of Philly. It's further out. I would leave the radius at about 20 miles maybe.
Okay.
So that way you encompass the Somerton area, which is where it is, and then a little bit further out.
Right,
Philly's a tricky one because it's so huge.
yeah.
And then when they drop that radius, they drop it kind of in the center, so you get all the center city stuff and then outside too. So
Right.
unfortunately, with the way that these ads work, you can't, unless you wanted to move to like the next town over,
Mhm.
like what would be the next town over to where it is in Somerton. So you could, I would maybe move it over to Trevose if you think that the people in Trevose-ish area are moving that way.
A lot of like firemen, police that maybe live in the city,
Okay,
go there to more residential.
I would maybe change it to Trevose then. Because it'll still, basically what you're doing is you're drawing a circle around whatever you choose the center of the circle to be. So if you make the center of the circle Trevose, it'll still branch out into like Northeast Philly,
Okay,
into those areas.
so for this, I would choose treatment.
Yeah, and you know what, try it, see how it does. Because yeah, when you choose Philly, you get a lot of the city people,
Right.
and they might not be necessarily interested.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of the city people are moving out, but I guess it depends.
so like, if I wanted more Yardley,
Mhm.
I could put Yardley.
As a center. Yeah, and so like, keep in mind that, like, even if we choose Newtown, it's gonna encompass
Encompass
Yardley,
Yardley.
yeah, because it's right next to it.
Okay.
Now, where you do have to kind of strategize a little bit is, let's say, if it was in Yardley, and the center of my radius is in Yardley, that means I'm getting a lot of Jersey. Because it's so close.
It doesn't, you can't
You can't choose,
do, zip or anything.
what do you mean?
Well, it will go in, it just on.
It basically, yeah,
25 miles. Okay.
exactly. Well, you can change how big the circle is by miles, but the minimum you can go is 15.
Okay.
And the maximum, I think it lets you go is 50, which is way too big.
Okay.
So I usually
Okay.
keep it in like the 20 to 30, depending on the town. So like 25 for this, I think is fine. It will bleed into Jersey a little bit, but it's not the end of the world.
Mhm.
Because worst case, you tell somebody it is a lead and they want to move in Jersey, we refer them, you know?
Right,
That's the worst case scenario. It won't be the end of the world. But when you do have, if you do have, like, let's say a listing in Morrisville or Yardley, you may want to think about not making the middle of your radius be Morrisville, because so much of it will be New Jersey.
and I always have to change the zip and school system.
Right,
And
right.
county. Doing searches and stuff.
Yeah, so you may, because it's a circle, you may want to think about, even if the listing's in Yardley, moving it over to something like Newtown, to
Mhm.
give yourself a little bit more of a buffer away from the Jersey border, if you're not licensed in Jersey.
Yeah, okay.
You're licensed in Jersey, go for it.
Yes.
Why not? But think about it. Okay. So I'm gonna leave it as 25 because I think that's fine. We're gonna do Newtown for this one. All right, interest. Interest is important. So we're gonna hit add interest.
79, 20 or 30?
I would do 20. Okay. If you're doing Trevose, I would do 20. I think that's fine. Yeah. All right, interest. So basically what we did is we created a big giant circle around the middle of our radius and we said, all right, I want to get leads from this big giant circle of people, right? Now with interest, we're making that pool a little bit smaller so that we're getting people who are actually interested in real estate, right? So interest, it's going to give you a big long list of interests. The ones that I use the most when I'm doing lead generating ads and it seems to work is Zillow, even though they're the enemy, so people know. So I'll do, for interest, I'll do Zillow. I'll do realtor.com. It might take me forever, so I'm gonna talk and do it kind of at the same time. Zillow, I do realtor, I'll just type in realtor. And with these, you can use keywords. It will bring up anything that matches those keywords.
You do the Premier Agent, Zillow, and Trulia?
No,
You do Zillow?
just Zillow, because you have to think about it as somebody buying a home, not an agent.
Oh, okay. Can you
So-
save it each time, or you just keep that?
No, you can just check off the box and then
Okay.
type in the search bar again. So we checked off Zillow, and then went back to the search bar, I typed in realtor, I checked that off, I'm gonna go back again. You can do Trulia. Everything so you can do Trulia. If it's something that's within like that would fit a first-time home buyer, there is one that's first-time home buyer. This one is not. It's a 55
Oh,
grader, they would
no,
not be a first-time home buyer.
Correct.
But for yours, Lori, they might be a first-time home buyer. So type in just first. And I don't remember, because I think they hyphenate first and time for whatever bizarre reason. So sometimes, like I said, with these keywords, less is more, so
Yeah,
try typing in like,
first home.
I did hyphenate it, right?
Yeah.
So
mhm.
bizarre.
And then it's also, there's one first-time home buyer grant too.
Yes, so first-time home buyer grant. I use ones that I'm gonna type in mortgage as soon as this catches up.
That's like that.
I know, yeah. There it is. Right. This one doesn't qualify for a first time, so we're taking
Right.
it
Mhm.
out.
Mortgage.
For mortgage, there's mortgage loans, mortgage lender. There's gonna be a lot under mortgage, so once that loads up, I'll show you. I usually do mortgage loans, and there's one for mortgage calculator. So I usually do mortgage loans and mortgage calculator. The rest may not be completely relevant. Okay. Now, if it was a luxury home, there's luxury car. So if it is something that falls within that price point, that is a luxury home, I start typing in luxury, you'll find some things. If it's in a,
I need to search for people when they should get here.
it's gonna, no, it's actually what it's doing, it's targeting people who have interest in these topics.
Okay.
So for like things like Zillow, Realtor.com and Trulia, they may like the Zillow page. They may have clicked on a Zillow ad before. They have in some way shown Facebook that they are interested in those things. With the mortgage ones, they may have clicked on an ad that was related to mortgage. They may have, they may like Huntington Valley Bank. That shows Facebook that they have that type of quote unquote interest. What was the other one that I was thinking of? Luxury.
Homes.com.
Yeah, you can do homes.com. There's ones for like renovation. If it's an investment property, there's ones for investment type things. The thing to keep in mind in it with interests is that you want to use it to make your pool smaller, but don't put more than like 6 interests. Cap it out there. If you start putting in like 15 interests, it makes it too much for Facebook to understand, and it's gonna start to hurt you after a certain point. So keep it simple. The ones that really tried and true work for me, that's fine. Yeah. Which ones were they? Yeah, go ahead.
Mortgage calculator, mortgage homes.com, realtor.com,
Yeah.
first time home buyer grant, first time buyer.
I think that's fine. Yeah, don't go crazy, because you can get a little bit wrapped up in this. You're like, ooh, boats, I don't know, it's by the water, why not? So like and what is nice about running your ads through Command as opposed to Facebook directly. So when you do it in Facebook directly, they've got so many interests in there. It is like, it's like millions. It's hard to narrow it down. With Command, they like weeded out the ones that just don't matter to us, like dog grooming. It doesn't matter. It has no relevance, right? So like, they just weeded those out to make it a little bit simpler for us.
Architecture design.
yeah, depending on the house, right? So think how your potential buyer, what they might be interested in. And like I said, those tried and true ones are like the Zillow, the Realtor.com,
Yeah.
the mortgage, the first time ones, the home buyer ones. Once you start to get into like niche type
Yeah.
homes, really custom homes, then you can use those types of ones. All right, so very last thing is gonna be duration and budget. Okay, here's how I like to handle duration and budget. Don't listen to this where it says we recommend 10 days campaign with a budget of $1. I'm sorry, that's a lie. Don't listen to that. It's a lie. It depends on the campaign, truly. I wish they got rid of it. How I like to handle budget is I like to work backwards. So I like to start with how much money do you want to spend? And then let's bring that down to how much you should spend per day. So if we're saying, I don't want to spend more than $20, then we'll divide that down to be how much it is per day from there. Or like how many days you should run it from there. You can get really tripped up trying to work back and forth. So let's say, for this one, I'll make it like, say 25. If you're doing a budget from like $20 to $30, when you're doing a lead generating ad, you basically want it to be like $5 to $7 a day. More means that it'll probably do a little bit better. So if you want to spend more money, go for it. I don't know, I know actually some of you were on that huddle the other day because Vince just ran a really great ad. He spent $50 and he got like, I forget how low his cost per lead was. It was like super cheap. He did great. It was like 50 cents or less, maybe something like 30 cents. Right. Yeah. So if you want to do $50, go for it. If you're going to do something like $50, do 10 days. We could do 7 days if you want. Especially with the way that the market is right now, when you're promoting properties, you got to keep in mind that after a certain point, if it's going to go under contract, we don't necessarily want them to click on that link and see that it's pending, you know? So don't be like, I'm going to run it for an entire month. Now's not the time to run an entire month-long campaign for one property. If it was something about you or your app or your website, go for it. If you want to run that for 20 days at a low cost per day, sure. But for these types of ones for a property that are lead generating,
What properties do you feel like you got, the higher end ones, the lower end ones?
truly anyone. I did one with Tom a while ago and it was not a great house. It was like carpeted and there was like mint green carpet and then like pink carpet. It was crazy. And we did just a photo of the outside and ran it and he got a great cost per lead. And like, and then he ended up selling it too, which, you know, who knows if that's related. But yeah, we got like a great cost per lead on it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a pretty house. You just need to be smart in the way that you market it, because if the outside's ugly, don't put a picture of the outside. If the kitchen's, you know, better than it is, or the family room looks nice enough, put those photos. Be strategic in the photos that you put, because our goal is to get them to click on it. They may click on it and go, ew, I don't want this house, and they're gonna close out, and that's fine, because we got their information, and now we're gonna follow up with them and say, hey, you know, I'm sure that house wasn't for you. You know, if that house wasn't for you, no worries, but there's plenty of other things on the market, and let's find the thing that is. Right, that's what we're trying to do.
I feel like the higher end, people are.
It depends. If it's like super high end and like $1 million, I've done it. I know I'm not gonna afford it, but I'm like, oh, how much is it going for?
I don't know, we'll see. We'll compare it exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
I've done a few for Facebook and I think that's like a good lead, yeah, but that's, you know, I've only done one.
Yeah.
So, but if somebody else has a listing in the office that we want to run an ad on, we just need to call the
Just
agent
ask
and
them.
ask them. please.
Yeah, just ask them. If you go on Bright, so this is what I did earlier before the class, because I was like, I wanted to be able to use somebody's listing. So if you go on Bright and you search, when you do search and inventory, that's one of the options. You can choose the list office, so it gives you an
Yeah.
option where you can choose the list office. Our code is 55529 to find all the ones for KW Newtown. So if you just type for office 55529, you'll see a list of all the active listings for our office. And you can even add, do you guys know how to add in a column? So if you click in the blue space on Bright, you can add in an extra column. So you can add in an extra column for the list agent's name. And then that way you can just look at the list and go, oh, Dave has 4. You call him and go, hey, Dave, I see that you have 4 listings. You know, do you mind if I run a Facebook ad on one of them? No, I'll show you. Make a list. Yeah. I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show you. Or if we have time, I don't know who's still here in Zoom land. But maybe they all left us. But if everyone wants to hang on, I can show everyone too. All right, so let's wrap up on budget and then we'll go back. Okay. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna spend $25. So for $25, I wanna get it somewhere in the ballpark of like $5 to $7 a day. It will always start the next day. You can't run your ad today, for whatever reason. It needs to be reviewed to make sure that you didn't do anything wrong. So it'll always run the next day. So if it's gonna start on the 16th, what am I doing? $25, let's do the 20th. It's a little too long. Oh, wait, because I'm doing Instagram. All right, I'll show you that. Hold on. So I'm gonna do 4 days for $25. I could do 5 if I really wanted to stretch it. Mine looks really, really low because I'm doing it on Facebook and Instagram. It defaults to saying if you're doing it on Facebook and Instagram. If you're only doing it on Facebook, you won't see that. These options with these checkboxes. If you're doing it on both, then you'll see this option. It automatically checks this off, distribute evenly across channels, or you get an option that says use automatic placements. Choose use automatic placements always. What basically distribute evenly says, I have $25. I want half of it to go to Facebook and half of it to go to Instagram. I don't care how it's performing. That's the money I want to spend, right? Automatic placements says that here's my $25. I wanted to run on Facebook and Instagram. You decide, Facebook, which one works better. So Facebook will sit there and push it out on both. And if it's doing awesome on Instagram, it's going to spend more money on Instagram. If it's doing terrible on Instagram, it's going to pull it off of Instagram and spend more money on Facebook. So if you are going to put it on both channels, always use automatic placements because it'll spend your money better. And then that way they want you to be happy because they want you to come back and run more ads. So let them do it. They want you to get your goal. All right, so I'm doing $25. I did 4 days. It's gonna use automatic placements for the 2 channels. So I'm gonna hit save. And at this point, I like to give one more look at my preview and make sure I didn't do any typos. I didn't miss anything major. And then, yeah, after you hit publish. All right, so if everything looks good, we're gonna go ahead and hit publish. And you're gonna get a pop-up, either with your card that you've used before, or you can add a new one in if you need to. Now, if you had a credit, which I do, and I don't know why, I don't know what I did, but I'll take it. If you have a credit, it'll say your campaign is scheduled to run X number of days at the cost of X number of dollars. Oh, here, credit applied if there's a credit. Sometimes it used to say it here, but I think it's just repeating the dollar amount that you're spending. So if you had a credit, if you had run an ad and you pulled it, or if you had to run an ad and it failed for whatever reason, it would save it as a credit. And then it would tell you how much credit would be applied to it if there was anything. If there's not, then there's just not. All right, so you're gonna put your credit card in, and then as soon as you're ready, you would hit create a campaign, and off it would go. And I'm gonna go ahead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna log into another account so that I can show you how to find your leads.
Mine's a main field required.
Oh, yeah? Hold on. Nope, no, it went somewhere. All right, so now that we've run our campaign, it will go back and check on it tomorrow.
So this won't show up until tomorrow, correct?
Yes, right. So go back and check on it tomorrow. Make sure that tomorrow, go to
Can I save-
campaigns.
Should I save for it? Is that who didn't go?
Yeah, it didn't go, so hit publish again. No, you had like cards in there that weren't working.
I know, and it's the same card. I don't understand.
So maybe try to add it in again. But
So if I should save for it, it's not one.
no, it's not going. You have to hit publish campaign. It says save draft, and that basically meant that it thought about it and then it didn't go.
It said main field required, that's the problem.
What's his name? Okay, so hit publish and choose which one did you do the first time? This one. That's the right one.
This one is no longer the right
Okay. Alright, private public campaign. And then just do add new. I don't know what part we're getting upset with. Oh, here we go. Try, yeah. You have them saved in there, so you can just try using it from the drop down.
I think that's what we need.
It doesn't work, yeah. It doesn't work. Yeah, so if we did it halfway sometime. Yeah, okay, I would try that.
It was, the first name was blank.
Yeah.
Altoid, the last name, that's probably the problem.
Yeah, I don't know.
Board members, co-resolution again.
Yeah, all right, yeah, maybe we'll try that and see if that goes. Did you say, put yours out, Melissa?
Yeah.
Okay, and it worked?
It's something, here.
Okay, perfect. So what we want to see is tomorrow, let me go down to property one, okay. Tomorrow, we want to see a green approved next to this. If it says failed, email me.
Okay.
If it says failed or, usually that's the only thing that I say, that it says, usually if it says failed, when you hover over it, it will tell you why.
Okay.
Sometimes it goes against some sort of equal housing. Now, I think we all ran an ad that will be fine, but sometimes Facebook gets upset for no reason at all. So it happens. So if it says failed, just send me an email. I can usually figure it out. But check on it tomorrow so that you don't waste too much time, you
Okay.
know? Now, once it runs, so it'll say approved and it'll start running. You'll come to campaigns under paid ads, you'll see them in a list. And you'll be able to preview your ad here by clicking on your name. It'll open up a little box so that you can see what it is. Now, this question comes up a lot where people will ask, how come I didn't see my ad on my Facebook? Like if I go to my business page, how come I don't see my ad? Your ad does not run on your business page. It's not the same as a post. It's fully an ad trying to reach new people,
Okay.
right? So if you saw it, then we just wasted our money,
Okay.
right? I mean, it's not that much money, but you're wasting a little bit of money because our goal is we're trying to reach new people to us. So that, yeah, I get that question all the time. It's like, okay, how do I see it? And you won't. The people that you're targeting is going to see it. You likely will not. You maybe will see your own ad in your newsfeed, maybe, but rare.
I got it.
And if you do see your own ad in your newsfeed, give yourself a boost and give it a like. So that way you give yourself a boost. But if you wanted to see a preview to make sure that you didn't miss anything, you can click on your name here in campaigns and view it. Okay. So once the ad is running, it's going to update the results of it and how it's doing. So next to it, it's going to say how many days you ran it for and what days you were running it for. Next over, it's going to be your impressions. So it's going to tell you how many impressions it has and what your cost per 1,000 of those impressions was. Your impressions for the lead generating ads going to be lower because it's spending your money on the leads, on the people filling out the form. If
Hey,
you were
Caitlin.
running, yeah.
It's John Iannarelli. Can I ask you a quick question? So the impressions is basically the people that actually see it, but don't
Yeah.
necessarily click on anything?
Correct. So impressions is just the number of news feeds it makes it onto, whether they did anything. Just the number of people that scrolled past it, right? Now, once you go through the rest of the cost of the performance of it. So this first one is impressions. So how many news feeds did it make it onto and how much it costs you per 1,000 news feeds it made it onto based off your budget. The next one is going to be like actions. So the next one's over going to be clicks. So it's going to tell you how many people clicked on it and what your cost per click was. So
Right,
basically
so-
how much your budget was spent on clicks.
Right, so what's the difference, or is it the same as the placement versus the impression? Because Facebook, based on your budget, is gonna go out and place your ad in all these areas to all these people. Now, is that the same thing as an impression? So like when they're placing it and it shows up on somebody's feed, It's placement and impression, or is that different?
Um, yes.
I'm
So
trying
like,
to ask you hard questions.
so placements, when Facebook talks about placements is, one placement is a news feed, one placement is a story in Facebook. One placement would be one of those sidebar ads. Another placement would be an Instagram news feed, and another placement would be an Instagram story. So that's placements. That's where Facebook is putting your ads to be seen. Impressions is how many people did people's news feeds, or how many people did that show up for. So like, that's where the answer is kind of yes. Like, yes, it's different, and yes, it's the same. So
So it's not necessarily, I mean, and I guess it comes back to your objective. So if your objective is, to get as much awareness, about yourself as a realtor, your business,
right.
that's one thing. Obviously you like to have, leads, result from that, so you can act upon that. But if you're getting less leads, but you're getting a bunch of impressions, is that necessarily a good, bad thing, or is it indifferent? Like,
It's just different, and nothing's good or bad about any of it. It's just how do you want to spend your money? So when you're running your ads, you're making a choice up front. Do I want more people to just see my name and I don't really care about getting their information? Like, if I happen to get their information, great, but I just want to get my name out in front of more people, or my listing out in front of more people, or my website or my app or whatever, or event. If you're holding an event and I just want more people to see it, you would get a way higher number of impressions because you're not generating leads. Basically, when you give Facebook your budget, you're telling them what you want them to spend the money on. So if you're just trying to do brand awareness, would you be, I want more people to see it or click on it, but I don't need leads, and I'm not asking you to give me leads. It's going to spend your money and give you more impressions because that's what you asked for. If you're saying,
right.
I want names, phone numbers, and emails, you're going to get lower impressions because it's going to be pushing it to people who are going to click on things. So it basically pushes it to the people who are more likely to interact because they have been. And
Right.
so
Yeah, so a good example, I'm looking at your screen here in Adam's campaign. So the first one at the top was this December number 3, and
Yeah.
then the third one down where it says December number 1. I mean, he's
Right.
roughly having the same budget spend,
Right,
but if you look at the top one, he's got 2,200 impressions.
right,
But less, I guess, clicks on it, only 17. And then the third one, he's got a lot less impressions, but he's got 46 clicks.
right.
So is that exactly what you're talking about? Like maybe he targeted, different things there? I mean, is that what we're seeing?
These ones are ads that I ran through here for the real estate school. So it was content. It was me, I was trying different, maybe, let me see if one of them will open. I was trying different like videos and graphics to promote the real estate school. And basically I ran a couple, and then that one just like didn't work. It just, people didn't like it. So it pushed
Okay.
it out to people to try to get more people to click on it. And it just ended up not really working. And so I said, well, trash that. I'm not going back to that. And so I changed it again.
Right.
These were basically like I was trying different content. So this was the one that I think had 11 leads. And then, I mean, this isn't for a property, so, it's not gonna tell you that much, but let me open up the other one. For whatever reason, they didn't like it. Maybe I did like a black and white thing, I think.
And what was the third one? The third
one
one
that-
down there that got all the leads and the
I don't
clicks?
know.
The one that says December number 1, the third one in your list down there.
Okay, hold on. It's, yeah, they didn't like that one. I liked
I like
it. Wasn't explaining it. Okay, this one,
Yeah, that one. Yep.
this one ran on 2 channels, but it like ran weird. So I got 7 on Facebook, let's see. So yeah, this was the one that had 46 clicks. I got 7 on Facebook and 2 off Instagram with this one. And so this is kind of what I was talking about in the beginning, where I was saying like properties do well, because this is a good example. I mean, this is a career, so it's different, but you do get more leads off of like, if you're trying to find buyers or you're trying to find even sellers, if you're trying to find clients to work with, properties work a lot better because these are all down here are all properties. 27 leads, 24, 19, 13. This one wasn't run as a lead gen one, which is why it has 0 leads. But then these have like 9, 11, 2, because it was just run for a different goal. It gets real murky when you're talking like Facebook ads. Some of it's a little bit of, you do as much as you can with the information that you have, but sometimes you will run something that you think is going to be surefire. And then you get it, you see the results and it doesn't do well. And you learn from it that you're like, well, I guess Facebook land does not like that. or the people that I was targeting in that area just didn't work. And you just try again, or you figure it out of like, all right, I ran that one on a weekend. I guess weekends don't really work for me. I'll try it again on the Monday to Wednesday type of thing and see how it does. All right, does that kind of answer your question? John?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. I had to mute myself. Thanks.
No, you're fine. So once we run our ad, we're gonna have the number of leads next to it. So we'll come back to our campaigns. We're gonna double check on it. I say check on it a couple times a day if you can. And you're gonna come to where it says leads. It's gonna tell you the number of leads and how much you spent. Don't panic in the first day if it says 1 lead and that you spent like a butt ton of money on 1 lead. It will eventually work itself out. When you look at it that first day, it's gonna look terrible because it's still it's like pushing it out in different places and seeing what works. So don't worry about it. When we hit the number of leads where it says like 24 leads here, when we click on that, it's gonna bring us right to the list of the leads. So the contacts information. Yeah, no problem. Did it go through?
Now, it says like, I keep trying to add my card and add my card, so it's saying it keeps going to the names already. It's erasing my first name.
So make sure that you save it as a draft and then try it in an incognito window.
You know, it's weird when it let me say the first, because her name is.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Save your text so that you don't lose it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get home and try it again.
Okay, let me know.
Bye.
So, bye. So if we click on the number of leads, you're gonna get that list right here. What's really nice is that once your leads are in here, if we click on the check boxes, so I'm gonna select all of them, you can quickly add a tag or quickly add them to a smart plan. 2 thumbs way up for me. I was super excited about that. That was great. And so here's my recommendation is that once you start to get those leads in there, give them a call. Never hurts to call them. So what? They don't answer. Who cares?
So they're automatically in your.
That
Contacts.
yep, they automatically get added to contacts. Now, I do recommend giving them a tag. So I recommend giving them a tag so that when they're floating in your database with the rest of everybody, you know who they are. I recommend giving them 2 tags. Give one of them as like Facebook ad or social media campaign or campaign, something so that you know you got it from an online lead, that you ran a Facebook ad to get this lead. So make that 1 tag. And then my recommendation for the other tag is the area that they were looking in. To the area that you ran that for. So do 1 tag as like Facebook ad and make that one consistent for every Facebook ad that you run. So one that just always is your tag for when you run Facebook ads, and then one for the area that they were looking in. So call it, if this one's Newtown, PA, we'll call it Newtown, PA. For the one that was Somerton, I would make that Somerton as opposed to Philly, just to make it clearer, because Philly's kind of weird like that.
Hey, Caitlin, but one other question, it's related to this, but a little off subject. So when I look at my lead / contacts in there, and it says the neighborhood, and it says subscribed or
Okay.
unsubscribed. What does that mean? Is Command automatically putting my leads and my contacts into a neighborhood and automatically subscribing them to that neighborhood nurture, and then they
No.
have to unsubscribe? Or
Unless you have a smart plan automatically triggered by a tag. Because if you created a smart plan with an auto trigger that, like, let's say the buyer tag auto triggers a certain smart plan, then yes, as soon as you add that tag, it would automatically add it on a smart plan. But the short answer is no, Command does not automatically do anything with a contact unless you tell it to, but you can create automation like that with auto triggers on Smart Plan. So if it seems to be consistent to a certain tag, then it may have been that you created an auto trigger to a particular Smart Plan. Well, the neighborhood nurtures, it usually doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
Unless you,
interesting. I mean, maybe, working, with you guys way back when I first came over,
Yeah.
maybe we set that up because it looks like everybody's automatically, kind of getting put on there. And then I'll see if somebody unsubscribes, like the click, and I'll see the note unsubscribe to the neighborhood.
but is it for any of your contacts or is it for specifically ones from Facebook ads?
No, it's actually, the majority of it is from my contacts versus
So
Facebook.
probably, we usually set that up when agents first come over. Is the first thing that we do is add the contact in and then add everybody to that neighborhood nurture Smart Plan. So that's probably what it was. Now, if it shows that they were subscribed and then unsubscribed right away, it probably is that they don't have a neighborhood attached to them at all.
Right. Yeah, no, I think it's a good thing because it's one less step that I had to do to put all of them on that neighborhood nurture. And then, and then if they want to not receive that, they can always unsubscribe.
Right, so, yeah,
So going through my contacts, it seems like, the majority of them, are not unsubscribing, so I take that as a good thing,
yeah. I like the neighborhood nurtures. I think they're a really good one to put honestly all of your contacts on, whether they're selling, buying, just sitting there, sphere of influence, friend, family, put them all on there. The way that I put it, and maybe it's mean, the way I put it is that everyone's a little nosy and everyone wants to feel like they know just as much as you do about the real estate market, right? And so the neighborhood nurtures kind of let them have it, like give them the information that they're gonna go off and seek anyway, but it's coming from you, right? And you're handing it to them. And you're showing that you're being specific in their area. So that's good that you're having a low unsubscribe rate on that because that shows that that it's giving them some sort of value, they're not annoyed.
Yep.
Which is always a benefit. Yeah, I would have to look specifically at your contacts, Sean, to know. My guess would be if it's probably a majority of contacts that were added on when you first joined, and then we probably just added all of your contacts onto that Smart Plan, would be my guess.
Right. Okay. All right. Thanks.
No problem. All right, so we went over how to run our ad, how to get our leads, and how to look at our leads once they come in. So my recommendation is that once they come in, call them. Give them a quick call, but don't call them and say, hey, you clicked on my property for 84 Rittenhouse, because they'll go, what? They likely will not remember that. So give them a call, say, hey, I put a couple properties on Facebook. I saw that you clicked on one of them. I just wanted to touch base with you and get a better idea of, how far you're looking out for buying a home. I understand that you may not be looking to buy a home right now, but what time frame might you be looking at? Give them the flexibility to not feel like you're being like, right now, I want you to go see this house right now. Because that's how you're gonna build somebody into being a client, right? So being like, how far are you looking out? Or what area are you looking in? So this property was in Newtown, but maybe that's not where you're looking at. Maybe it's not the price range that you're in. What would you be looking at? To start that conversation that way with a phone call. And then I recommend putting them on Smart Plan. So I would tag all your contacts and then I would get them all on a Smart Plan. I would do the biweekly neighborhood nurture. And typically when we set up the biweekly neighborhood nurtures, we do the address of where they live, but we obviously don't know these people, so we don't know where they live. But we do know what property they clicked on, right? So we do know what area they might be interested in. So base the neighborhood nurture. So when you're adding neighborhoods in that contact card, add in for where they click. So if this one was in Newtown, add it in for Newtown. And add in a couple neighborhoods around Newtown. If it's the one in Philly and Somerset or Somerton, do Somerton and a couple neighborhoods around it, because we know where they were at least interested in, and they can edit it however they want. And it gives you a great follow-up, because if you put them on that biweekly neighborhood nurture for Newtown and a couple neighborhoods around it, and you have it on for a few weeks, then you call and you follow up and say, hey, I've been sending you information, like, updates on the market in Newtown, but I just wanted to get some feedback from you. Is that even an area that you're interested in? I want to make sure that I'm giving you information that's actually useful to you. So if you're not looking in that area, I'd be happy to change it. So do the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, and then in smart plans, there's a buyer education smart plan that's really great. That's based in Jersey, so you do have to edit it, but it's a great one. Just put them all on that buyer education smart plan. And what I'd like to do is, you guys run this ad, set up a one-on-one afterwards, like when your ad is completed or in the middle of it, and let's set up these smart plans together so that way you're ready to go. And you know how to do it, and that way you know how to put them on afterwards. But the key is that when you're following up, don't be like too specific, and don't be because they're internet leads. They don't really remember like what they did. And think about it as yourself too. Like if you, most of us use Facebook, right? I'm sure you've clicked on an ad in Facebook. I know I have. I've bought stuff on Facebook ads, and I am not sitting at home going, man, I can't wait until they call me. Right? So they're not expecting it because they click on ads all the time. I can't wait till Macy's calls me about those boots. So think about it. Think about it that way. They were online, so they don't really remember what they were doing. All right, and then get them on those follow-ups so we can turn them into clients. Now, does anybody else have any questions? I know we took forever. I talk forever about ads, so I'm sorry. Anybody? No? All right. Well, what I'm gonna do, so for anyone that wants to stick on, I'm gonna show what we talked about earlier of how to check the inventory for the office. So if you want to stick on so I can show you that, then go for it. So, yeah, go ahead.
Caitlin, if I stick on afterwards, I don't know how much time you have. I don't want to hold everybody else up, but if you could just show me at the very, very end, that just like doing the regular social post.
Okay, yeah.
Because I'm starting to do those through command, but sometimes I get hung up, like the technology is not working the way I think it should be. So,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
No problem. So we'll show this real fast. So in Bright, if you go to search, and then there's this one that says inventory. Okay, it'll show you a page like this. So at the top it says list or selling, which would be list and buy side. List or selling, selling's your buy side. So if you want to look for the listings that are attached to our office, we're going to do list office. And if you needed to do a specific agent, you could, but if you're trying to look for like hosting an open house or, for an ad to run, you would put in for office and you do 55529, that's KW Newtown. Select it from the drop down like that. Change this, because if it's under contract, we don't necessarily need to be asking. So I'm going to change it to coming soon and active. And if I hit results, that's going to give me the whole list for specifically our office. Now what you can do, and you can do this for any search on Bright, okay? So this is a little tidbit to be able to use for the future. If you click on the white, it sorts it A to Z. But if you click on the blue, you can add in a new column. So you can hit insert column and you can add in hundreds of different things from anywhere on that MLS like sheet kind of. So if you wanted to put the acreage, I've done that before, added in a column for acreage, you could do that. I'm going to use this in this scenario to put the list agent's name. I'm going to scroll down to where it says list agent full name. List agent full name. And then I'm going to hit apply. And it's going to bump it over into the next column. Right? So if I click on the blue text, it's going to sort it A to Z. So that way I'm going to lump together the agents that have a few listings, right? So that way if I'm somewhere in the Poconos, so I'm going to make this one nice big long list. Okay. So here's me that wants to run a Facebook ad, and I'm going to call Ed and say, hey, I saw that you had a couple listings. Do you mind if I run one for your one in Langhorne or Peaceville? I'll run the ad. It's my money. I'll get you a buy. Like, hopefully I'll get you a buyer, but do you mind if I run an ad? And 99.9% of people will say yes. Unless they're like, oh, sorry, it's already under contract. Then they'll say no. But yeah, so you can, and this works for open houses too. If you were like, hey, I saw you had a bunch of listings, I was just curious if you wouldn't mind me running an open house for you. Some of them may already have that scheduled, so you never know, but doesn't hurt to ask. All right, so that's Brian. Any questions on that? All right, so let's do social posts. So I'll just do it from Adam. All right, so John, for social posts, if you're in campaigns and you hit create campaign and you choose social post. So the difference is social ad is your paid ones, social posts are like your free ones, right? That go to your business page specifically. You cannot schedule a post to your personal. It goes only your business pages. You're gonna hit
Okay, yeah, that was one of the questions I had. Okay,
Yeah, so you cannot schedule things to your personal page. Who knows if they'll ever give us that capability? I don't know, but no. To groups, Command can't do it to Facebook groups either, but you can schedule posts in groups directly on Facebook if you needed to. But through Command, it's specifically just for the business page.
say that again. So in other words, I have, you're familiar with my Hello There Neighbor?
Right,
So they're set up as a closed Facebook group.
right.
So if I want to do a post to them, I can't do that?
From Command, no, because it doesn't read the groups. It reads it just as the pages.
But could you share your personal page and then share it to a group?
Yes, right. So you could, if you're trying to use this as a scheduler, you can use Command to schedule the post. And then if you wanted to just share the post from your business page to your personal and then share it, you can share a post to a group too. You can do that, but it will show as like a shared one. So it'll show like your business page attached. It depends on the post, on how you're trying to do it. Now, you can schedule posts to groups, but you have to do it directly through Facebook. I don't know if you've ever done that with Facebook groups, scheduling posts.
Nah.
Is that something that you're trying to do?
Yeah, because I have like within the group, like frequent like posts that I do on like a routine basis. And some of the stuff is pretty much boilerplate where I'm just kind of changing a couple things. So
Right.
I wanted to kind of set those things up ahead of time and have them run, on the dates, specifically, without me having to go in every time and setting it up and posting it. And
Right. So that's what I do with like our closed group is that I schedule out the reminders because otherwise I won't remember.
right.
So if you go to your group. Let me get this open. Are you loading? I think so. It's so dark. So basically when you're scheduling in your groups, now your group, you're an admin, right?
Yes.
I figured, but you never know. So as long as you're an admin, you should be able to click on the what's on your mind box.
Okay.
What you want to say.
Yep.
And hit the schedule button in the bottom right.
Okay.
And then you can schedule, I mean, I used to schedule like 6 months out in like, once a week for months and months and months, and it's worked for me.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd go as far as like a year, because I'm sure at some point it'll fail. So that's the farthest that I've tried it.
Okay.
6 months.
Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, you can do, for groups specifically, you can do it through Facebook directly, and truthfully, I think that's the easiest way. Just because that way it's easier to manage. And then once you schedule them, on the left-hand side, you should see a scheduled posts
Okay.
tab. So once you start scheduling, it'll show you everything that you've scheduled and when.
Yep.
Now, if you make a lot of them, you're gonna have a very long list.
Right.
But you can do that. Now with the scheduler through Command, that's specifically for your business page. So,
Okay. So I guess I guess in this case, it's probably easier to just do it all through Facebook instead of trying to get this to sync up and then share it. And
So if you're trying to take it off your plate and schedule it in advance specifically for your groups,
Right,
that's the end goal, is to be able to schedule things for your groups, then yes, I would just schedule them directly in each group. That way, you know it's done, and you don't have to go back and remember to share things. Because if
Okay.
you schedule it through command to send it to your business page, then you're gonna have to remember to go back and share it, and it wouldn't be serving the purpose that you're trying. to.
right, yeah, like I'm trying to take like the thinking part out of it. You know,
But, so I will show you this though, because I think that. with
Yeah,
this-
show me this one, yeah, yep,
I've used a couple different schedulers for like social media tools, and this one's handy for the Facebook business page, but it is limited to really just the Facebook business page and Twitter. That's really it.
okay,
What I do like about the post scheduler is the quick posts. So if you go to campaigns and you hit dashboard, for those times when you have your business page and you're like, I don't know what else to tell these people, you're just out of ideas. They have these quick posts. Let me find them here. They are. Okay, so if you're on campaigns dashboard, I had to scroll down a little bit. It looks like it moved down one. But you should say quick post, and then you're gonna see a whole bunch of boxes with a photo and a little caption already written. You can shuffle through them. There's like 20-ish in here. I don't know exactly how many, but about 20 that are in here. What you can do is, let's just say I want this one. Is these already have the photo loaded in. It already has the caption written, so let me go up to the top. So this already has a caption written for it. This one's like a cheeky one. But you can edit the caption to be whatever you want if you want to. If you don't want to, you can take it exactly the way that it is. And all you have to do is hit schedule. So this, I think, is super handy when it comes to trying to put things on your business page, because I don't have to be going off to other websites, trying to find photos, making graphics, doing all of that work. There's a lot of quick posts in there that are, some of them are cheeky, some of them are like stats. Some of them are, mortgage information or credit, like how to have a healthy credit score, stuff like that.
right.
So
Are they
related-
constantly updating those, or is it the same ones all throughout the year?
They have been updated. I don't know how many get dumped at a time or like exactly when, but like just now when we looked at it again, that was 2 more that I hadn't seen before.
Right.
They are getting updated. My advice when I tell people to use the quick post, because what you can do with these quick posts, so our text is already written, our photo's already in there. All I have to do is schedule it. So where it says schedule, you just choose your date and time. If you're gonna go through and take all those quick posts and schedule them all out, don't burn through them in the next month,
Right.
Schedule them, once every other week for the next couple months. And so that way, by the time you come back to it, they'll be refreshed with more.
So now with this, are you able to schedule it to LinkedIn? Because this is kind of where I kind of go back and forth between like LinkedIn and Facebook. I mean, Facebook is kind of more personal. So like I'm not trying to like bombard them, with the real estate stuff,
Right.
necessarily on Facebook, but on LinkedIn, being more professional, business oriented,
Right,
that's where I like, kind of sharing these.
Uh-huh.
So you can basically do a social post to LinkedIn from here, or no?
Yeah, it's just Facebook and Twitter. There's no LinkedIn, which is a bummer. If I don't know if it'll come to.
I mean, if we post it to our business, can we share it to LinkedIn through the
To your
business?
page,
Yeah,
so LinkedIn and Facebook aren't of the same family.
okay,
So there's no quick way to do it. There are third-party apps you can use, and I can give a recommendation of one. But I hate to always be bringing in like, more things to learn.
right.
So yeah, the way that it is right now, the only thing that you can schedule through command is Facebook and Twitter. And it's only your business page. It doesn't have groups or personal. Personal, it's just plain impossible. You can't schedule things on your personal page.
Right.
Groups, it just doesn't have the capability through command. Again, no idea if that would come at some point. You're not the only, like, there's plenty of other agents that have groups, so I would hope so. But I just don't know. This doesn't have the capability for LinkedIn either to schedule, but if you do want a recommendation of a third-party app, there's one called Later, Later.
Okay,
It's free for, you get like one social set for it. And so you can do basically one Instagram, one Facebook, one Twitter, one LinkedIn, one TikTok. I think I covered all of them. Oh, Pinterest. Pinterest is the other one. So if you don't use the other ones, don't worry about it. But if you were looking for one place, but that's going to run into the same thing with the groups. That one won't have an ability to schedule for the group. So you're still going to have to kind of split it. But if you were looking for a way to be able to schedule to LinkedIn, you can do it through there. And
Okay.
it's a robust free version. In
and
my
then
opinion.
maybe we'll get to this on this one. So how do you, like, if you want to use your tags from your contacts in Command to have specific things go to a specific list of contacts? How do you do that with the social posts?
With the social posts?
Yeah, like in
Yeah.
other words, if I want to, and maybe that's a different terminology, but if I have like certain contacts within my command system
Yeah.
that I basically want to schedule something
To
that
go to
goes to them, I mean, am I better off sending like an email? Like sometimes I have the email, sometimes I just have their Facebook account.
So through the post scheduler like this, you can't.
Okay.
You can kind of do that, but through Facebook, and it's called friends lists.
Okay,
So you can on Facebook make what's called a friends list, and you can make one that's your friends, one the people that you know from high school, one your family members, one your like work, I don't know, realtor friends or real estate acquaintances or real estate clients, whatever you want. You can basically group together people and check off the people that fit within each category. And then when you write posts on your personal page, so it's specific to your personal page. So when you write posts on your personal page on Facebook, you can choose what group it goes to. So you can kind of do that, but it takes time. It takes time to create all the groups. Once it's created, and if it's something that you really want to cultivate, it's worth it, because then you can be a little bit more specific
right.
the way that you talk to people. But yeah, if you have hundreds of friends on Facebook, it takes a long time to make all those friend lists. Now with the tags in Facebook, or sorry, the tags in Command, there's no way to be able to say, I want this business post to go to only these specific people. There just isn't the functionality with business pages like that.
Right. So I guess in that case, I'm better off just using like the emails, and because I'm able to create like an email command list, right?
Right, and then send it to only a specific list. So yes, I would, if you want something that's easy, that's not gonna take a ton of time to set up, then yes,
Right.
I would. It is possible to do it through social media, but it takes a ton of work to get it set up front.
Right.
And then depending on how many people it is, you could also do like messages, like Facebook messages to certain people, but that's all individual time.
Right.
It all comes down to time, doesn't it?
But yeah, it's investing your time on the front end to save you multiple time on the back end.
Right. And well, especially when it comes to like those friends lists in Facebook, it is a really cool idea, and I've seen people execute it at a high level. But every time that I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is like hours.
Right. And there's, I guess there's real no limit to the number of friends lists you can have on Facebook. I mean, it's pretty
No.
robust.
Yeah, I have a lot from like a long time ago.
Right.
That have just stayed forever. Yeah, there isn't a limit to the number of friends lists that you can have. Though
Right.
me personally, speaking as me, I would say after a certain point, you probably have too much.
Right.
Like you may be narrowing your pools down way too much.
And then what you can do probably a face list within groups and also within your regular Facebook, right?
The friends list,
Yeah.
I don't remember if it works in groups. I haven't tried in a while. Let me see. I don't think so. But let me just check, because the private groups, I don't think have that setting. But- No, but
Yeah.
I'll show you, like, on your personal post, so your business page doesn't have it either, like the groups don't have it, and your business page doesn't have it, and well, think about it too, your friends list is essentially like groups. Except without telling them that they're in a group, they don't know that they're in a group.
Right,
So you having a group, they already are of a like-minded set, so you making subsets of that set would be probably too much for me to understand.
right,
But when you have groups, you see where it says public when you're posting? You can select an audience and you can say, where is it? There it is. When you scroll down. These are groups that I made for like a class,
right,
the ones I made forever ago from something else. But that's where your groups come in, so I can say that I want to send it to just this specific group of people. But when they see it, they don't necessarily know that only they got it.
right,
Newsfeed, it just shows up in their newsfeed. So like, you could make a group for a particular neighborhood, and then maybe that's where you put the specific, like market stats for new.
yeah, you're reading my mind, that's kind of where I'm going, so I have the Facebook group, and
Right.
then the people that, because people invite other people, to the
Right.
group. And then
Right.
what I do is, like, if they're not friends of mine personally, then
Right.
I'll send them like a friend request,
Right.
from my personal Facebook. And then that way I have it separate, so the group is just what's going on with Hello There Neighbor specifically. And then if I want to send them other stuff, marketing stuff or what have you,
Right.
within my personal, I guess,
Right.
I can create like a Hello There Neighbor
Group.
friends list.
Right.
Right.
friends list, and then
Yeah.
send, and then that way you could, put things that say hello their neighbor, because they're already familiar with that, and it's going to a more targeted group.
Right,
So, like, yes, you can use it for that way, but it takes
Okay.
some time to, like, create the friends list up top and maintaining them. Except
Yep.
the second, like, you can create them all, but then once you get more friends after that, it's maintaining the list.
right, yeah.
So it is possible, but
Okay.
through Facebook. All right, any other questions?
No.
All righty. Thanks for hanging out with me.
I'm good. Thanks, Caitlin. I appreciate all your help.
No problem.
All right, see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.